we're brainwashed by our own conditioning,
Yeah.
by our own upbringing. And it's so familiar and it's so comfortable that change sometimes isn't even on the radar.
Face it, acknowledge it, and say, oh wow, all of it really happened for me. It didn't happen to me. Like, I'm not the victim anymore. When you start unraveling that.
When you can eventually flip that switch, right? It's such a magical, profound moment. It can be so lovely and also terrifying.
Welcome to Reignite with Reet. I'm sitting here with Nadia Fairlamb. She is an amazing artist living on the island of Oahu here, and she has a beautiful, rich history of starting from being an archaeologist, and she's been a dancer, she's an artist, and then she's been a sculptor, and now she also coaches and teaches children, and soon to be a budding author. So there is a lot to cover today, and I'm just going to jump right in and welcome Nadia.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I love this season of women creators that are really coming out, and I think you've always been there. It's just a season where we are taking up space. We are creating, we are inspiring, and we're just allowing our divine feminine to just blossom. Mm-hmm. And I think it's an important time in life for us to be here and do this.
Yes.
So let me kind of get you sharing a little bit about starting how your art journey started. Way back, you went to school for archaeology.
If we go all the way back to the start of when the art started, I was that kid that was always in the mud puddles, their hands, right? I was that kid, now that I have girlfriends with children, that drew all over the walls. Okay. And that every surface was an art surface. My poor mama. So, but with that, she paid attention, and she knew that I was the happiest and most grounded and most stable and most me when I was making things. And so she just followed that and then put stuff underneath my hands so I wouldn't draw on the wall anymore and draw on the paper and the paint and the things. And through elementary school, art, everything was about art. Through junior high, I was that kid in the art department. That's where I was all the time. In high school, I was that kid in the art department all the time, unless I was doing track and field. And then when I went to university, I thought initially I was going to get a degree in more environmental sciences. And so I thought I was going to do that. But while I was there, it just became very obvious that I had zero interest in that at all. Mm-hmm. And that my attention went all the way to archaeology, because that was one of my first loves. Art was just what I did. Archaeology was what I loved. And so I have a BFA, a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Sculptural Ceramics, but my minor was archaeology. And then I went and got part of a master's degree in art too. So yeah, that's my art origin story.
And you grew up in Texas?
I grew up in Germany and Belgium and Australia.
Oh, wow. Okay, here I am thinking like...
Yeah, I'm not a Texas kid. No, my dad was military.
Right, okay.
So I was born into a military family. He was Air Force. He was fighter jet during Cold War. So wherever they needed a guy in a jet, that's where we went. So pretty much from birth until 6th grade, we were in constant motion. So I lived in the States until I was in almost kindergarten, and then from kindergarten to all the way through the end of 5th grade, we were international.
Wow. And how often were you moving? Every year?
Every 6 months to every 3 years.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And what was that like for you as a child?
On one hand, amazing.
Right.
Because you get to see so much. I mean, not many people can say they ate different kinds of chocolate from different countries by the time you're in 6th grade. But I had that experience, and it was great to be exposed to so many different kinds of humans, so many different cultures. I spoke German and French better than I spoke English when I was a child. My mother is from Australia, and so I had also an Australian accent on top of French and German, so nobody could figure out where I was from. And from that side, it was good. On the other side, the shadow side is we moved every 6 months to 3 years, and so after a while, I stopped making friends. It was difficult.
And you're an only child?
No. I have an older sister.
Okay, so there was two of you.
So it was difficult to, there were moments of your, elementary school, and it just hurts when you have to leave your friends.
Yeah.
So, but resilient, and but I'm glad though, because without having moved so much and seen so much, I wouldn't know what's possible and what's available.
And I think it gives you this resilience to go for it, because you have seen what is out there.
Yeah.
And it's something I've toyed and I'm grateful for. I also struggled with giving my daughter, who's 8, in this immaculate, amazing experience of traveling around the world by the time she was 5, to over probably 30 to plus countries.
Yeah.
And it's something that's wonderful, but on the other side, I think she also struggled, her being an only child. In a sense, like, I keep having to move, pick up and leave. And there's also an adaptation that I see that she quickly adapts.
Which is helpful. Yeah,
which as a mom is, which I practice with her in saying, I can't guarantee nothing ever stays the same.
It's true.
Right? Art evolves. Everything evolves. So I definitely can understand how you must have felt as a child from a bit of a lens from my daughter's perspective. But I think it made you ultimately who you are.
Yeah, it did. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that was the deck of cards I was handed at birth. And there you go. Yeah, those are the things that I chose into.
Yeah. We choose our parents. So.
Yeah.
Where did you go to school?
What, you mean university?
University,
in East Texas, in Central Texas.
Okay, that's where I thought you were from there. But you went to school in East Texas, in Central Texas, for archaeology.
For archaeology and art.
From there, what happened after school?
Well, while I was getting my degrees, I met the man that I eventually married. And so as I was getting my master's degree, he had already finished up his. So he was already needing to transition from university setting to, I got to go get a job. So instead of finishing up my master's degree, I did follow him. So, one of those in hindsight things of, oopsie, wish I had finished that. And here we are, got other life experiences. So at that point, when I was done with, or when I decided I'm not going to get the rest of my master's degree, I moved to Austin because that's where he was. And then I'd had a job previously already illustrating archaeological artifacts. I was working for it's called a cultural resource management company. So basically these are companies that get hired by mining and oil industries. So when mines go in, or when oil companies need to run pipeline, they have to do cultural research. In other words, they need to look at the land to see what's on the surface. Because if they're going down and they're going through a burial, that, at least it was illegal. I don't know if it is anymore. Right. But so these organizations were hired to come in and do cultural resource management. And I got that job because when I was in university, I was in the archaeology department and art department, and I volunteered in the archaeology lab at UT Austin because I loved it. I wanted to be in there. I wanted to be cleaning artifacts and play with them. And when the lab manager found out I did art too, she asked me if I could draw. And so I started drawing artifacts, and she realized at the time, wow, nobody can do this. You can do this. You want a job? And so that was my first job out of university, illustrating artifacts in an archaeology lab at a cultural resource management company. So yes, some of my illustrations went to university publications, but a lot of them went to more you call it commercial publications. So that was my job out of college.
It's pretty amazing marrying two of your major and minors in school and your
Yep.
loves.
I was one of the few people that I knew that right out of college, I did exactly what I got my degrees for. My husband had that too, but I had that also, and a few other friends too. Wow. Yeah.
That's pretty extraordinary. And so from there, how long did you do that?
I worked on that, gosh, I don't know the number, maybe about 8 years or so, but then what happened? Digital cameras. So, I was ousted from my career because there was no career anymore. Nobody wanted to pay somebody $25, $35 an hour to illustrate when you could give somebody that's making minimum wage a digital camera. So at that point, I was definitely in a state of flux of, well, what do I do now? What do I want to do now? And yeah, I just kind of cruised at odd jobs and did things and got a divorce and did other things. And then, yeah, life kept lifing after that.
And this stayed in Texas, Austin, at the same time?
Yeah, so this was between 2000 and 2008 when that was going down.
Okay. So then you just did odd, different paths in the art field or just all over?
Nope, in the all over. So when that career of mine ended, other things ended too. So did my marriage.
Right.
And so we got a divorce. We weren't on the same page anymore. And that's when my colorful part of my life happened. That's when another part, which I don't often talk about publicly because I haven't really wanted to that much, is when my marriage ended, I was devastated. I was lost. I was devastated. I was used to a man telling me what to do, where to go, where to live, how to live, because that's what I grew up with, right?
Yeah.
My dad said, we're moving here. You have no option. You have no choice. Military says go. So we go. So that's what I was used to. And when my marriage ended, I didn't know what to do. I was lost and suicidal. And I wanted things to end. And at that point, I just got on my knees and said, all right, tell me what to do next. And within a couple of months, I met a spiritual teacher. So on one hand, I was with that teacher for many years, probably about, I don't know, maybe 13. It was 13 altogether. And that's what brought me to Hawaii.
And approximately how old were you? Not approximately. How old were you when you were going through this divorce?
It was 28. Yeah, it was 28. We got divorced when I was 28.
Okay, so fairly young still.
Yeah, I met him when I was 18.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, still together 10 years.
Yeah, we were together for 12.
12 altogether, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
It's young. And then to leave your master's program and pursue him, you can see the thread of where our conditioning takes us until it has to literally get us on our knees.
And until our conditioning no longer works.
Right.
But unfortunately, my conditioning was still strong because, yes, on one hand, with a spiritual teacher, I got what I wanted, which is, why am I here? Why am I in this body? Why do I have this parents? What is karma? What is life? What is the soul? Why did I incarnate in this body? So it was amazing because I did get that. And I had a guru, I had a spiritual teacher who was very energetically, profoundly powerful. And I also gave everything up for him.
For the guru.
For the teacher and the group that I was part of. And so when he moved here to Hawaii, of course I moved because that's what you do, because that's what I was trained to do as a child. And about 6-8 months after I moved here to Hawaii, 2 things happened. One, I realized I was in a cult. Bad news. It wasn't okay. And, well, actually 3 things happened. That one thing happened. 2, I ran out of money. Because when you move to Hawaii, nobody tells you, or people did tell me how expensive it was, but I had no concept.
Yeah.
Because husband and daddy had already always taken care of money.
Right.
And then my mom died. So at that point in my life of me being in this spiritual group where I was just thinking like, oh, wow, how did I end up here? these people are not pleasant. This is not a healthy environment. I have no money. I don't know where to go. I don't know how to lead myself. My mother's dead. My father lost his mind. And my sister's off someplace. So I stayed in that group because it was the safest thing I knew. Because all I knew was being led.
Yeah.
So I stayed. I stayed until I couldn't stay anymore. And so that turning point was when my body started having panic attacks. Full on, drop on the floor, huddled fetal position, uncontrollable shaking for hours. And it was telling me, this is not right. You got to do something else. And so at that point, I was finally able to listen, and I was just working whatever. I mean, barely minimum wage. I think at that point I had racked up like $40,000 plus in debt, credit cards, blah, 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 all the things. Not the lowest, most rock bottom point of my life. And so at that point, I realized I got to get out of this thing. I can't be here. Plus, somebody also had made a movie about us and was about to put it on Netflix. It's still on Netflix. You can watch it today.
A friend told me about it. I've yet to watch it because it's here. It happened in here.
Lani Kai.
Lani Kai.
Yep.
Wow, to meet somebody that was in. Okay.
Yeah.
I wondered about it, and I have yet to watch it. It's been on my mind, being like, oh, it comes up, and I was like, oh, I'm curious.
Yeah. Don't watch it with your daughter around.
No, most definitely not.
No.
It's a guru.
Headphones by yourself privately.
Yeah. It is, from what I understand, it was a man that walked around and you followed him.
You could call it that.
But you worshipped him.
In a way, when I first met him, he was much more for real. He was a spiritual teacher.
Yeah.
It was like it was about the teachings. It wasn't about him.
Right.
But then when we moved here, everything really started to morph and change and become about him. When I first got into it, it was about yoga and meditation and questioning, why are we here? And eating well,
right,
and taking good care of our bodies and meditating and, doing and that. And then it just turned into a black hole of hell.
Yeah. And because it becomes manipulation, it becomes control, and it's, again, similar. I'm not a super religious person anymore. I'm spiritual, and I do believe in a higher power and God. But for a decade of my life, I was told to go to a Baptist fundamental church. That felt very cultish to me.
Yeah, well, it is a cult.
It is. If anybody tells you that everybody else is bad unless you're in this group, then it's time to question.
Yeah.
And one thing I've realized from coaches and leaders that have helped me, saying, I am not your guru, you are your guru.
Correct.
And question me every step of the way. And that's when I know I'm aligned and working with the correct person.
Correct.
When they tell me, and that continues out throughout our whole teaching,
Yeah.
You get to question why they're telling you in their teachings. Put holes into it, because they are ultimately a human having a human experience, just like us.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more aware and evolved in certain aspects.
Yeah.
Because they can tap into
or a couple steps in front of you in the
couple
process.
steps.
Yeah.
But when you realized, I've had to spend about 2 decades of conditioning that I'm not evil, I'm not going to hell, from all of the things that if I didn't do it the way that Bible told me and them, it's a very dark place to be, and you're lost.
Yeah.
However, that sense of lostness is where you find yourself again. You build.
Yeah.
You build on who you were created to be. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
And I think through all the debt and being so feeling broken.
But it was also that broken place when I got to that rock bottom place of no money, literally no family, hiding here in the community because I did not want anybody to know that I was part of that thing, because I knew what was about to come down the line and I knew what was going to happen. And, total isolation, not healthy, and a few other things. It was at those moments where I started asking myself, all right, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? I have no money, so it doesn't matter what I choose at this point.
Yeah.
So anything I choose is a good path, is better than where I am.
First step.
Yeah.
In any direction, it doesn't matter. Let's go just not where I am and backwards.
Yeah, yeah. And so I did question, is like, what do I want to be doing with my time and my energy, especially after my mama died? And the answer was it came to me very quickly. You are best at creating. You are best at working with your hands. Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
So while I was still in that spiritual group, I did start making stuff with my hands, and I did start selling it, and I had a lot of good opportunities. But I was making stuff to sell to tourists, right? And that has it's a pretty limited bandwidth, especially for me, coming from my background and what I grew up with. But I did it because I started to make money.
Right.
And it was way more fulfilling than what I had been doing. And then after about 3 years of that, I decided, you know what? All right, let's see if we can really make some money out of this thing. Let's see what I can do. And so I set myself a 3-year goal of, if at the end of 3 years I am more in debt and I'm not making any kind of profit or traction from making and selling this stuff, then we're done. We'll move off the island. We'll go find a place and get a job. We'll figure it out. But after those 3 years, things were okay. I was making more and more stuff, and things were selling, and it was okay. And then at that point I realized, okay, now let's make some art. Let's make some real art, because I know what real art looks like. I know what it feels like. And I then pulled to me at that point, through my desire, I pulled several things to me. I've pulled in a fellowship. So there's an organization that teaches artists how to run their art business better. And so
on the island here?
No. It was virtual, New York City.
Okay.
So a woman in New York and Santa Fe. So I became a fellow in that program for 3 years, and it's like getting a $50,000 scholarship. I didn't pay for any of it. I was grants. Wow. They received grants, and we got taught for free.
Yep.
And so that happened, but then also at the same time, I was going through the personal and business development classes, where I met Tiare.
Yes,
right, and
friends.
the other girls.
Yeah.
But
different kind of personal development of just coming home and knowing the power within. And
well, no, I mean, they're a company that I went to, that I met. They're quite corporate.
Okay.
So they do teach corporate training, and it absolutely works. And even though it can be run for a corporation, within a business, within a company, to get it to make more money and to work better, yes, it works that way. It can be applied to your life too.
Of course.
So, yeah. And then I had the great fortune to meet the CEO of the company, and she was great. She said, "Tell me your story." So I told her the whole thing. She's like, "Amazing. I'm going to now hold your feet to the fire, and this thing that you went through is now going to be your strength. I'm not going to let you breathe. I'm not going to let you be a victim. And I'm going to show you how to get yourself out of this." So I ran through it. And so then I met Tiare and Maki and the other girls, and have had the same mastermind group with these ladies for 6 years now. Yeah. So it's been good.
It's important to surround yourself with like-minded women, with growth, with inspiration, and just more of a place of love, but accountability, holding yourself responsible. I love that. Any guru, or I wouldn't even call them gurus, anybody that is in my life to guide me, holds me to my life's responsibility and accountability.
They hold you capable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I've made 45 years, you've made yourself your lifetime, and you chose all of those things.
Yes.
When you remind and you come to that realization, and you're actually say, "Oh, wow, we have choices in this life even when we think we don't, and people are telling us you don't." You always have a choice.
Well, that's the challenge, though.
Seeing
is because I get, and all of us get, we're brainwashed by our own conditioning, by our own upbringing. And it's so familiar and it's so comfortable that change sometimes isn't even on the radar.
And let me kind of like elaborate on that choice.
Sure.
When we always have a choice. It doesn't mean we're going to make the highest choice for ourselves.
And it doesn't even mean we even know we have a choice.
In certain situations, our programming is just autopilot.
Yeah.
So we're like, yep, makes sense. Next thing, oh yeah, this feels right.
This is normal and
this
familiar.
is my path. Yeah. Until we find generally, my experience also, until our body shuts us down.
Yeah. Until something, whether it's an autoimmune disease or migraines or things within our endocrine system or our reproductive system for women. For me, it was the central nervous system. Like the body just went, argh!
Yeah.
Nope. You can keep going that way, but I'm not anymore.
No.
One of us is going to win here. And so I was like, okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. But it was through that personal and business development company where the guide or the CEO of the company held a mirror up to me and said, can you see why, of course, you ended up in a cult?
Yeah.
And so it was the first and pretty much only organization in time where there was no pushback and no judgment. Because in the community here, it was like, oh, God, tell anybody you were part of that thing. Just people's minds and their blah, blah, blah. It was just a big mess, right?
Yeah. But
it was the first group of people I was around. They were like, cool, you went through that? Neat. How cool, what are you going to do with it? Instead of, oh my God, the plague.
Yeah.
Something like that. But then they also turned it back around to the point of, well, let's figure out what was it in your personality and upbringing that made that normal? Because for hundreds of people, it was normal.
Yeah.
Right? And so I got that's when I saw and learned, well, of course that was normalized because that's what I did as a child. You have a strong, dominant, charismatic man that's telling you what to do all the time. That was, well, of course I followed. Of course I ended up there. Of course I never questioned. Of course I never fought back. Of course I never said no.
Yeah.
But then at some point, my body said no. I was like, you know what? I'm saying no. And I stood up to the teacher and all those things. And boy, did he have a freak out. But I'm like, I'm leaving anyway. Bye.
Yeah.
And then I just disappeared from thin air. I didn't tell anybody. I just grabbed my stuff and moved. I have no idea. At that point, I have no clue what happened. I just left.
Yeah.
So, and then just started the rest of my life.
And
But it's those little subconscious, it's whatever we're taught as a child, like we said at the beginning, right? It's normal for your daughter to understand and see different languages.
Yeah.
Right? And to be adaptable and to move around.
And also to see a very strong mom.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's great and positive. Other times it burns back in both of us because she mirrors back. Why am I overcompensating and controlling? Because that comes from my father, who bossed me and controlled me. And sometimes it's recognizing, and it shows up in different layers. It doesn't always go away. It's another lesson we have to learn. It shows up in another part, and we heal that part, and another lesson comes. And it's, my daughter chose me to show her.
Yep. Right.
And she chose me to show myself, to mirror parts of me that need healing.
Yeah.
And that we're here to grow together in this life, in this body, in this time and space, and create.
Yeah.
And heal, really. Heal for the lineage of women that I come from.
Yeah.
And she also is part of that on both sides.
Yeah, the good and the bad and the ugly.
All of it. All of it.
Uh-huh.
And it's something I think of often. We have very colorful lives. I think everybody does if they are willing to face it, acknowledge it, and say, oh, wow, all of it really happened for me. Yes. It didn't happen to me. Like, I'm not the victim anymore. When you start unraveling that.
Yeah, when you can eventually flip that switch, right? It's such a magical, profound moment. It can be so lovely and also terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, oh, wow, it didn't have to be that way. Okay. Well, let's just keep going.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going, because I'm either going to spend, and I'm either going to be like the other people that left the spiritual group, which are perpetual victims. They're professional victims.
Yeah.
Professional, oh, woe is me's.
Yeah.
Professional, look what happened to me. I'm like, you're not special. Stuff happens to people all the time on the planet. So what? Get over it.
Yeah.
Go do something else with your life. Go do something.
You're
with
given
what
an
you learned.
opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, you're not like, you can be a victim for so long. Like, I think we all get a allotted time and container and being like, okay, feels heavy. Because it is a process. Like, I know, you know, people always told me.
Takes a minute.
Yeah, it takes a minute. Let it go. People say let it go. I'm like, okay. It took me a while to figure out what that meant. It's like every single day choose to let it go. It's not going to happen like with every single day choose a little part of that to not try to control something. But here you are. Here you are on this island creating brilliant art, custom pieces for I've seen your website of, you know, do you get commissioned pieces?
All the time, yes.
Right?
Most of my work right now is commissions.
And okay, I don't want to jump far because there's so much there to you, and I am just like hanging over here.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot, and that's okay. It's an artist's life. It's life. And I think it's important to make sure we touch on different parts because there's women out there that are going to be sitting maybe in a victim mode, maybe in an artist on the edge of their seats waiting, but just take the leap.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't... Some people do, some people don't. It depends. Things maybe don't have to get so dramatically disastrous for life changes to happen to decide. For me, that's what the flavor was for me. Mom dying, cults, things like that, you know. For me to finally just kick it into gear of like, all right, I am... The thing I am the best at is creating and teaching and creating. So let's do it. But I think also at that stage in my life, there was purposeful and intentional isolation because I didn't feel so good about myself and I didn't want to be around other people. So I did isolate a lot and I used that time. Personal and business development. I went all the way through every single training that company had and then went back to staff everything. They trusted me with their clients and so I helped staff. Just like this last week, I went to Texas for a week and all those things that I learned as an adult to help me refrain to the disastrous parts of my past, I was helping 13 to 17-year-olds do. So these are kids coming in with not so great situations. Young women with, you know, maybe blurred lines with male family members or young men getting bullied and things like that, right? And I'm like, I got you, babe. I've been through it all. I can help you with that. And so I know the CEO of the company, when she sees me walks in the door, she doesn't have to say anything. She's like, yeah, she's got you. Because she knows. Yeah. She knows what I've gone through. Right. Just like what I know what she's gone through to get to the place where she's at. And so to be trusted that way because of my past, to then go help these kids, put a mirror in front of their face and say, you got this, babe. But this is how you can get it. So it was purposeful, intentional isolation from my family, from my father, from even friends. I let whatever friend, everything, like literally everything in my life completely went down to the ground. I started friends brand new. And the only people I would hang around were the people in the personal business development group because I trusted them to have no judgments on me. And they only encouraged me to keep going. Everybody else was like, victim, yay. So forget all that. Let's move forward. And just focused on the art, gathering as much information, getting better and better. And every step of the way, because it's been 10 years now since I've been out of that spiritual group, where I learned finally how to lead myself. And that, I believe, is one of the miraculous lessons of this, which was that longing, right? I have a longing for a spiritual teacher because I want to know, why am I here? Yay, why am I here? But why am I here and what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Instead of why am I here? No, it's not you. I'm going to get past the gatekeeper of you because I've already seen my soul. You've already exposed to me my true energetic self, because he did have that ability, which was a blessing. But then you just kind of move him to the side and keep going.
That's it.
And that's what a lot of people don't do. They just stop at the priest. They stop at the church. They stop at, I'm Jewish, they stop at the synagogue.
Yeah.
They stop at the president. They stop at any strong, charismatic leader that's telling them what to think and do and feel, because they were programmed to follow somebody else.
Yep.
And that's what this country is full of right
Yeah.
now, right? We're seeing it so
A lot of the world.
blatantly obvious.
If
right?
you can see a lot
Yeah.
of, if you see right now the theme, the wars, the tribulations, and it is a patriarchic society that's starting to cracks. It's not crumbling yet.
There's
but
a lot of cracks in it.
there's
That's why
cracks.
it's starting to get so fussy.
Right. Because there's people like us that are awakening, that are
Yeah.
not ready to just follow along and do what we're told anymore. And we know we have a power within that is so much greater than what their control is.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of the people that don't know, and they want to follow, and they're scared. They're scared because their leaders are telling them things that are fundamentally not feeling good, but they're still going along with it.
Because that fear fuels.
Familiar.
It's familiar and it fuels. And until you learn how to fuel yourself with your purpose, your intent, why you're here, then it's easier to feel fulfilled through another outside thingy.
Of course. We want to seek everything outside.
Whether it's consumption of a thing
Yep.
or a consumption of a thing.
Yep.
But when it's all gone,
Yep.
right, you have nothing, and then you get down to, okay, well, what is real? So it was a gift, and I think because of all of these experiences I've had, and because I've been able to look back and go, wow, okay, cool, sorry. Okay, body, we're not going to go through that again. I promise you that, and it promises me that I can do the work I do now. Mm-hmm. I can support other creative human beings in the problems and the challenges and the issues that they have. And pretty much, for the most part, all of my clients are women, and they're all anywhere between their late 20s up to their mid 50s. And
even 8-year-olds.
I don't, and the kids, and my babies, and the babies
Yeah.
that I teach. And a lot of the things I learn, I sneak into the art classes. They're there too, because the kids want that.
Yeah.
Because they already know it.
Oh, this is why my daughter is coming to you and will continue to come to you, because you engage them through a process. It's intentional to create their vision, draw it out, sculpt it, bring it to life, and then present it. Because that's scary. Because that's the part that you sold me on. I'm like, when my daughter we had to come on a Saturday, and they had a mini presentation and a show.
Yeah.
And something that I know it's uncomfortable for my daughter, but she got up there and did it. And you allowed that opportunity. You're exposing them to uncomfort and to face it, and in a safe environment, and helping program their nervous system that sometimes us parents, we're part of the dysregulation. I could admit that, because I'm a human being having a human experience, and every single day I choose to learn something new and rewire or reparent my little inner girl inside. So you're mentoring, you're creating, and you're also helping a future generation. Like,
Yes.
it's, wow, like you're feeding, I think, probably 3 parts of your mind, body, and soul.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Being with the kids is, I know what's happening in public schools. And I know what they're not getting. And it's not okay.
Right.
Because their little brains are supposed to be creative.
Right.
They're supposed to be using these things.
Right.
And if they don't, they're not okay when they're older.
Right.
So I elected I want to teach art to children that are in public schools, not private schools.
Right.
or parents that see that I have something that they're not getting from their school system, and I want to teach them how to not just make art, but create and understand and trust their creative urges. Because it's that moment when a child is told, you're not creative, you're not supposed to be creative, you can't be creative because economically it's not viable. Whatever the reason, stories, excuses are, it gets stuck in here. And then we have to deal with the aftermath within our body and mind, because then we start doing things that aren't right for us, right? And so that's why I teach art to kids. Yeah, and then they get to learn to create and use their hands and make beautiful things. Yeah, so those generations get it. And my dream and desire is to own my own piece of property where on my art studio, I have my own art school. So the location where I am right now, that is not ideal. It is not ideal at all. There's so many things that are missing and that are just not right there. And I haven't gotten my next place yet. So until then, I'm here and I teach how I can, given the abilities and facilities I have.
Would you prefer to do it on the island? Or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm right now in the process of my life where I am looking to see if I want to move someplace else. I've been out and about, the last 2 years. I've been going all over the planet looking to see, is this it? Is this it? Is this it? Am I going to stay? And there's a couple of places that I found, but it's going to be a process to go if I decide to go. But I can teach art anywhere.
Absolutely.
I can make art anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I make art myself because, just quite bluntly, the purpose of my life. It's what I know I was here to do. I know I was here to show other humans who they truly are with art and creativity. And unless I had had that spiritual teacher, I wouldn't have known who I truly was. So then I could never have taught. But because I did, and I have had a multitude of spiritual experiences of leaving the body and understanding energies through that teacher and other teachers, that now I can, fulfill that purpose of what I was put here for. And now with the art that I'm selling, I'm seeing that on the faces of my clients. I'm reminding them of who they really are. The soul and the human combined, married together, both together. Sandwiched together. And so, and I'm of course in my own developmental stages of the art that I'm making now is much more indicative of who I am and what I am and my understanding of what I'm here to do. And quite often I make art that I don't think I'm going to make. But what I mean by that is I have processes where I go through visualizations and meditations where I'm just basically saying, what do you want me to make?
Yeah.
And who do you want me to make it for?
Yeah.
And I'm to the point now where I can receive images and emotions so clearly that within 24, 48 hours, I receive a phone call out of the blue that says, XYZ wants you to make ABC. Can you do it? It's $40,000. I'm not posting on Instagram.
No.
I'm not on Facebook.
That's
I'm
energy.
not chasing.
And when you're tapped into that frequency, that thing can get in that vibrational flow. And when you're in the flow is the difference. Like, I get chicken skins because when I'm in the flow, nothing can stop me.
Yeah.
And that's all of us. We're not just special, but that takes time, evolution, and coming back home.
Yeah.
And also,
you've got to train yourself.
You have to train yourself to practice. And you have to train yourself to start saying no to things that are no longer serving you.
Correct.
And distractions, and call BS on yourself sometimes to get yourself back on the path, because we do wander. We're humans. We get distracted. And that's usually when we get seeking outside of ourselves.
That's right. Yeah.
And, I love that.
And so basically that's my art education training as an art education teacher, art business education.
Yeah.
As an educator, that's what I'm teaching my clients to do. I'm teaching my clients to pull so far back away from the external blah, blah, blahs of whatever it is, and what is your vision? What is the impact of your art supposed to be? Why were you put on this planet? And until you know that, you're going to make a little money here and there, but you're not going to end up like these other highly paid artists that I know,
Right.
which I've studied, like we said, right? I've studied all these other highly paid artists, and I've broken them down. Why are they making the money they make? Why do people come to them? What is it about this human being that makes them that? And why am I not? How do I get to repattern myself so that is my new normal?
Mm-hmm.
So a $40,000 check is, of course, bring it.
Yeah.
10 years ago, if somebody had handed me a $40,000 check, I would have had a panic attack.
Right.
I would have not known. I would have never believed I was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I would not understand what kind of art to create or how fast to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way I could have.
Mm-hmm. Your vibration, you couldn't sustain it. You couldn't hold
Yeah.
the frequency of the power that you hold. You didn't know it.
Right.
How can you create from an unknowing? You create from knowing. And I say this, as women, we are here to create. If we stop creating, the world goes extinct. End of discussion.
Yeah.
And that's in art, children. Creativity is creativity in
Music,
all creation.
writing, dance,
yeah, and I tell
science.
my daughter that. I've known from the time she came out she was an artist, and it doesn't matter what kind of artist. It doesn't matter to me whether she's designing and sculpting in dirt and scientifically, like whatever her I throw her in all, and I purposely sometimes challenge her to make sure that other side of her brain is being challenged, because it's never
gets to be.
one-sided. You
That's
cannot
correct.
only do what you love. You have to do things that are uncomfortable to grow.
Yeah.
And she makes me do the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But you also share this with women. You teach women
Yes.
to know their worthiness and to create a business out of it.
Yeah.
That artists, no longer we're living in a world where we have to practice starving artists. That saying, oh, you can be a starving artist. That's not real. That was a programming, I think.
It was an idealized
Yeah.
something within the 50s and 60s
Yeah,
of
the boomers.
breaking out of the I've got to sit in an office thing,
Yeah.
because those individuals that were the artists, they free expression, free form, free stuff like that.
Would it
Yeah.
not serve the corporate world and that society that wants to control for artists and free thinkers to really evolve and not be starving anymore? It doesn't work in the agenda.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit that mold. But that's why more people are awakening and starting businesses, leaving the corporate world,
Yeah.
and doing this.
Yeah, they don't really want to be a cog in the machine.
No.
Their soul is demanding expression, is demanding what it came here for. I came here for a reason, to have a certain kind of experiences. And if you don't let me have these experiences, something's going to happen with your body and your mind.
Yeah, I'm going to shut it down.
Yep. And it's going to shut down, because the physical organism also demands growth.
Yeah.
This thing is always demanding expression and growth. And another reason why I teach children, and I want to teach more children, and I want my school to be more robust, and I want to have bigger classes, is that when a child is taught to suppress their creativity, if you look at, it's not Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but if you follow somebody, let's say Abraham Hicks, and she's talking about the scale of emotions, and you can turn it on its side, you can turn it upside down. Either way, neither is good or bad. And you've got joy on one end, and I want to not be on this planet anymore on the other end, right? On that spectrum, and in that middle is neutral, right? But if you tip it up on one side, joy and happiness and what you're longing for is up here, neutral there. What's underneath neutral? Well, above that is curiosity, above that is creativity. But if a child is taught that their creative urges are not valid, then what starts happening is it matriculates and trickles down into suppression, frustration, anger, depression, rage. And how many young humans on this planet in America are enraged? And how many of them are then given guns? And what do they do with them? right? And if that child, if I could maybe reach one of those kids that was, and show them this rage is just creativity suppressed. You just, that immense amount of just like, oh, if that can get turned in a different direction, that is going to be an immensely powerful human being.
Yeah.
And we need those people.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that are going to be the ones to balance out the blind, obsessive following.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that's why I always go back to these personal and business development classes, because I want to know how to support a human that way.
Of course.
And at some point, my school, through the arts, will be that. So I can sponsor and scholarship kids that are on that edge.
Well, some of us learn in that language.
Yeah.
Some of us may be able to go sit in a class and learn out of a book. Others need a different form. There's no cookie cutter. We gotta change. Just a few
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the change is happening.
It is.
It's pushing out the sides, right? It's popping out in all the directions, even though, this current system and the current ideology within government and our political system is trying to compress and squash.
Yeah.
All we have to do is look at physics. I mean, this is just a physics equation. This is just math. The more you squish and compress and squash, it's going to
The pressure is
explode.
building.
The pressure is building, and it will bounce back. I mean, and the other thing I giggle about with our current situation is, as an archaeologist, I've studied human history since the beginning of humans were humans. And the first artists were 45,000 years ago. Most of these individuals weren't even Homo sapien. They were Neanderthal or other Homo species. And then the development of human culture. All we need to do is look back at history and go, this isn't going to last very long. It's going to explode at some point.
It's already starting.
Yeah, and there will be a pushback in all those ways. So just, it's like, do these people not read history books? Apparently not.
No.
But back to the arts, right?
You are also had dancing in your life.
Yeah.
Where does that fit in? Because this is something recently I found out about you, and I was like, what? Well, movement is medicine, right? Like, it's another form of art and expression. And at what point were you dancing?
When I was still married, it was this. When I was in university in a class, I had a friend within the class come up to me one day and he put his hand on my shoulder and he handed me a piece of paper. Looking, and I'm like, what is this? It was for yoga class. And I look at him, I'm like, why are you giving me this? And he looked at me very directly and said, you have really strong emotions. Maybe you could learn how to manage them. That was his way of saying, you're nuts, sis. Go take a yoga class. We cannot handle you anymore. You're not okay to be around.
Yeah.
I had, my emotional swings were very large, and they never changed even during college. So when I took a yoga class, I realized, my first yoga class, wow, I have control over this thing. If I can have more control over this, then this and this will then follow instead of push me around and lead. So yoga was my entry drug into physical health and just taking care of this. And then at another point in college, this was actually a guy from Saudi Arabia when I was in university. He came up and said, I think you really like this class. It was a dance class. And so I took it and I loved it because it wasn't a dance class and it wasn't a fitness class. It was we're going to move our bodies, but we're going to apply attention here while we're doing it. So it's not Zumba where you're just Zumbaing or dancing or any other things. It is literally a system. It's called the Nia technique, and it's body, mind, emotion, spirit, fitness, you could call it. So I went through all 4 of the teacher trainings, and I do have a black belt within this system. So, and on the island, people could care less, so I don't teach here, because nobody's interested. I tried for a long time and didn't want to waste any more money. But when I go back to the mainland, I go take classes all the time. And they're great. Yeah. So that's how I trained my body to dance. going from a non-dancer to now dancing. And now people still to this day say, are you a professional dancer? No, I just know how to move this thing. Yeah, so that's where that comes in. But that training, though, and I'm not going to diminish that, that training was vital to my ability to teach children now. It's vital to my ability to teach other adults because I can read the room. I can take a class full of rowdy kids and get them to become completely silent through my silence and my stillness. And I remember the day where I was just thinking like, wow, I really got this down. This is great. It was when I had 100 fourth graders in a cafeteria that I was teaching them a little art class. And nobody would be like, these guys are going to be nuts. They're going to run all over you. But all I needed to do was do what I learned in these classes and really ground and center and hold my ground. And when I enter into that place of really profound stillness, there's always somebody in the crowd that catches on and nudges their neighbors like, shut up, she's waiting for us. And then eventually the whole sea dies down and they're still. And then I say, are you ready? And then they're ready. And then they've quieted themselves, which is different from us saying, shut up!
Yeah.
That doesn't work, not with kids. So though all of that training was pivotal for me to be able to do what I do, and also read my clients, because all of my clients with the art business, it's all online. So to be able to support them that way.
It's funny, all our training is leading us to our highest self.
Yeah.
Right? It's leading us, training you to build your businesses. It's training you to train others and help others develop and hone their gifts. Not yours, theirs.
That's right.
It's the difference. Like real, true guides and teachers to gain and get you to tap into your own creativity and your own superpower.
Yeah.
Your inner light force, energy, rather than try to emulate yourself, want to make them you. We're not here to be there's nobody else meant to be Reet. There's nobody else meant to be Nadia. We're all unique, and that's art. We're the living form of art.
We are 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional paintings.
Yeah.
Our lives are. We are.
Oh.
Yeah. And if I can help a handful or several dozen women learn these things and be able to support themselves through that creativity, then
I think you're going to help more than several dozen women, that I know in my soul.
yeah, it's starting. It's definitely there's a lot more momentum with that. And then with the idea of writing that book, I'd never been on my radar in my life to write a book. I'm just like, of course I'm not going to do that. But it was, when was it? It was some point earlier this year. Met Heather Hayes, right, through the group. I met her and she said something about writing a book. And it was a flash of lightning that's like, you are going to write a book now. And I thought, okay, great, voices in my head. Thank you very much. What the hell are you talking about? And here I am, almost done with the first draft.
It's when you're super aligned, energy just flows through you and it comes out. It just pours out.
Yeah.
And that you don't have to worry about the how. You create.
Yeah, the how isn't up to me.
It's not up to you.
Yeah.
You were put on a path to meet Heather Hayes. And you have a story inside of you and a whole system that needs to be out and shared.
Yep.
It's not even up to you whether it was even on your radar. That's the beauty. We are not even tapped into a quarter of our potential. And the universe keeps, until our last breath, our potential just expands as long as we're open to expansion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And this is what we're constantly, in our home, we're constantly talking about. I think I could probably use 1 or 2 courses in this dance, Nia, you can talk about, because I'm in intensity and it would probably help. It will help.
It would help embody and ground you.
Yeah. Because I have a big vision for all of us. And sometimes how that comes through is it's big for other people. It's intense. And I am a bit of a cyclone vortex that coming through and being like, we're going to create it. And that's my journey. And I own that with love and respect, because I also can't deny myself of that beautiful energy the universe gave me. I can learn how to tap into it in the rooms I go to and read the room. And I have, and I am. We all are. It's just a matter of showing up authentically and holding some compassion for everybody around you, that they're not on my journey or on my timeline.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm constantly having to let go. It's not on your timeline. Even though you can see, and I think that's usually it, I see it before the other person.
That's helpful.
That's
a gift that other people need.
My husband tells me all the time, he's like, you see things in other people before they can see it in themselves. And
Yep. Well, like you were saying to me, we can give a very physical example here of that focus group I had about my book. You came up with sheets of information on what to do to publish, and I thought, I had never considered any of that. This woman is brilliant. This is amazing. Thank God. Thank God. Thank you, God, for dropping this human being in my lap. I thought I was just teaching her kid art, but nope, she's going to be helping me with my book. And that's needed. And there are other business owners that will pay highly for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's honing into that. And when your frequency and vibration rises, and you step into it, and you remember your purpose.
And that's why I elected to do now the things that I do. Why I elected to turn the art business education from just local to, let's go online.
Yeah.
Let's take it to America. Let's take it to the whole continent.
Yeah.
Not the world, because I only advertise and sell into the States. But then I thought, book. But that's when the book will now then reach it out. Let's get bigger and bigger, because through my own trainings, I think I know now I'm at the level where if I'm around another mentor or another woman, specifically women, that has what I have, has a life what I have, I don't care. One of my mentors right now, she's 25. She's actually my money mentor. The girl is brilliant. She's a multimillionaire. And I don't care how old you are.
Nope.
I don't care if you're 95 or 15. If you can teach me how to get to what I want, I will learn from you.
Yep.
Like 25, I don't care. I'm literally 25 years older than you. Let's go, sis.
Yes.
And, these things that I've learned I've trained my brain and my central nervous system enough to be curious instead of reactive. It's now can be curious, where if I hear somebody say, I've done this in the past, there's always this reactivity of, oh, I can't, or I wish, or I blah, blah, blah. But now it's almost an automatic switch of, well, how can I? And then as I take action steps, now all these other things that I've learned, which is, and this is what I was talking about today with one of my clients online, is, I was trained to be that little girl to hide behind mom. I was Jewish. We were living in Germany. So what is my mom going to be thinking after she knows that her literal my grandmother's entire side of the family, my grandfather's most of his side of the family, they were gassed. They were in either Auschwitz or in a mass shooting in the stadium in Paris because they were Jewish. Because there was a country that said, you shouldn't be you. Great, thanks for happening again. So, of course, my mother's going to have that fear vibration living in Germany. Of course, she's going to hide me and protect me, right? Is that helpful as an adult? No.
Nope.
Is that going to help me step out and sell my art?
No.
No. Was she doing her best?
Yes.
Yes, poor sweet mama. She was.
Are you healing your mom through yourself?
Yeah, absolutely.
And your grandma and
I
all
can
of them.
tell my mom, because I was there with my mom when she died and what I experienced. But I'm to the point now where I have been so curious, and I've done so many different kinds of healing, self-therapeutic, putting Humpty Dumpty get back together modalities, that I can now have that experience, especially with writing the book. Because every day when I sit down to write, I automatically go to the place of, who gives you the right to do this? It is there every single time. And then I go through my little steps of like, wait, great, thanks so much. I accept my greatness. I have a genius. And I have a greatness that's meant to be great. And just because that was my training doesn't mean that that's my fate.
Yeah.
Whereas before, that was my training and that's my fate.
Yeah.
Right? But now, no. I know too many things. I've learned too many things. I've done too many things. Yep, great. That was my training, and that can be helpful, and that can preserve me in certain areas to go back there and to go into that. But let's find safety in these other parts. Yeah.
Wow. And when is this book planned to be coming out?
Well, good question. Thank you for asking. So the first draft will be complete and done, ready for the first editing, August the 6th.
Ooh, that's
2 weeks away. Yeah.
2 weeks.
So I'm writing 20 to 30 minutes every day, whether I want to or not. Just do it and go for it. And so the first draft. And then, so I have my editing system. And at that point, I get to decide how long that next process is going to take. The book is going to be out and published before the end of the year. I don't know when, and I don't know how that's going to happen, but that's when it wants to be birthed.
That's not up to you. And that's okay. As artists, sometimes our creativity gets blocked. We get in our own way. And what do you have to do? You have to sit still and allow the creativity and the clarity to come again.
Yeah. You can get to train yourself, and this is what I tell other people that say they have artist block or I can't create right now or I'm too busy. My answer is bullshit. Because you can train the mental muscle of imagination. You can train that in the mental gym every day. In my most stressful times and things, when I've put my mind to it, that's when I've made my best creations. I was telling a client today, when I got my very first, was it that job or that job? My very, my largest job at that point was a $16,700 job that dropped in from out of the blue, right? Did not drop in. I got into alignment with it. The year that job dropped in, I got the job with those few months, that window that I was working on it and needing to come up with these ideas and create it. My dad got sick and almost died. I flew to Texas several times, packed him up, moved him to Utah. I still completed the job on time. I got the check, and I made art I had never made any before. So when anybody comes to me and says I can't, I'm like, okay, sure, you can believe that if you want. You sure you want to believe that? Or are you going to see what you're made of? My client yesterday, she said, well, I can't set this goal right now for XYZ because I just called for jury duty. I'm like, so what? Are you going to let some other circumstance dictate your future? Or are you going to stay aligned to the magnetic North Pole of your purpose? And I bet if you recalibrate daily to what you're here to do and create, that calling in for jury duty, that thing's probably going to dissolve. Or you can not run these goals right now, not make the money you want, and sit there and wait for jury duty to be over, and then go get your goals. I'm going to hold you to a different standard until you can hold it to your own. So I think that's why having these really extreme layers of unwanted experiences after another, that gives me the ability to look at people in the eye and say, sure, that's boring.
Yeah. That's a gift.
Yeah. The amount I've changed since April, May, June, July, 5 months is massive. So each of those risks has to happen.
Absolutely. you are becoming into your highest self.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you don't face the backpacks of crap, load of crap that we carry.
Yeah.
And some ours, some not ours. And it's, some people, we can't explain it, but if you know, you know.
Yeah, and if you, I like this analogy of the backpack, right? Because we all come in life, no human is immune, and your daughter already has one, right? And she's either putting in experiences she has with you, or from the world, or karma, or blah blah blah, past lives or past things. You know, if she had the ability to neutrally sit there and open the backpack up, and then look at A, B, C, X, Y, Z, all the flavors. The one that truly knows would look at all those and go, cool, these are my life lessons. Okay.
To conclude this beautiful recording, if I can ask you to give one piece of advice to a woman sitting out there who's on her knees, who's lost everything, who doesn't know herself, and doesn't know where to turn, and she's so broken, you know that, and I know that woman.
Yeah.
What's your advice for her? One piece, something, or whatever is coming through you now.
Hallelujah. That's the only way the light gets in. You have, if you're going to actually have a life that's worth living, you at some point have to be on your knees.
Welcome to your coming back.
Well, welcome to being birthed.
Yeah.
It's like, that's when you're born. That's when you start really living your life.
That's so true. I can get like teary-eyed because I'm like, yeah, every time I was on my knees in my life,
Hallelujah.
This new woman was birthed to being who we are today.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, and I'll end that by saying, when my mom died, the night she died, I was sitting at the head of her bed, and her head was in my lap. And I was still with that spiritual teacher, so I knew how to move energy, and I understood the meaning of when the soul leaves the body, it leaves out of the top of the head, because he taught us and he brought us through that situation multiple times. His flaw was that he never taught us how to consciously come back in and then continue to utilize that mana, that chi, that shakti to be a human and having a human experience. So that's where that didn't work. So that's where I needed to learn that on myself. But anyway, I'm sitting there with my mom's head on my lap, and yes, I'm understanding, like, ooh, you know, you cannot stay in this body. It doesn't function anymore. You have to leave. My dad and my sister are crying at the other end, like, don't go, don't go. And I'm thinking, she has to go. There's no saving this. And so I sat there and I, did my meditation and energy practice. She took her last breath, and I felt just like, and it was a butterfly leaving a chrysalis. That was her death. She birthed me in, and I birthed her out. Yeah.
And you give me goosebumps because my father died when I was 15. And I had this same profound moment. I wasn't with him. He was at the hospital. My stepmom was with him, and I was in the shower. And in that shower, I knew he had died.
Yeah.
And we weren't together. Maybe half an hour later, they came to the house and told me he had died. And I was like, I know.
Yeah, you just know.
You just know. But he birthed me to have these gifts.
Yeah.
This intensity and this energy that I am.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful that you are this energy, and the experiences you've had made you who you are. And through that, you are so tapped in that you want to serve others.
Yeah.
Because we're here to serve.
Yes.
Our gifts are not ours. They're meant to be shared and served.
Yeah.
Women need to create.
Yeah.
Women need to start creating, and you are here. And this is going to be your plug. Talk to the camera here and tell them, where can they find you, Nadia? What's your website?
Yes. So the best way to find me is Probably through Instagram. That's going to just be the easiest. It's got everything. It's got the links to everything. And Nadia Fairlamb Art. Simple. First, last name, art. And through Instagram there, that'll lead you to my website. It'll lead you to my programs. It'll lead you to everything but the kids' art things. I only just publish the, I just advertise for those locally. So, but that's where I do it. Anybody can do what I do. But I just choose to say yes to the next thing, yes to the next thing, yes to the next thing. Yeah. And on the note for the viewer too, if anybody, let's say it's a woman, you're an artist, you're watching this, and you have a desire to understand how to stop throwing spaghetti at a wall to make it work, how to price your art in a way that's actually real and get those clients to show up to actually pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 for pieces. And, quick questioning, then in my bio on Instagram, there is a link where you can have a free strategy session with me. And I'll walk you through what I do. And if I'm not right for you, then I know other people that are.
Yeah. Sometimes we're just meant to guide people to
the right
people come
next
into
step.
my life all the time. I may not be their coach, but I definitely know right away a coach that's meant for them. And vice versa.
Yeah.
No more gatekeeping. Share.
Yeah.
And we're here to help people heal and do our part in that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they do their own healing. We're just a facilitator in navigating it.
I just lead the way.
Yeah.
I just show you how to do it yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, Nadia.
You're welcome.
This was beautiful.
This was sweet.